Hi everyone, it's Cathy Zielske. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I've got a fun scrapbook page project that was inspired by the recent Ali Edwards Pieces of Us Self-Portrait Challenge. I had so much fun doing the project, I knew I wanted to create something with it. And so Ali and I worked together to create the Pieces of Me cut files, which you can download on her blog. And then I designed this photo frame cut file as well as a template that works with the cut file, and you can download those on my blog. I'll have all the links below this video so that you can get the appropriate files. For now, let's jump in and look at the supplies. I sized and went ahead and cut out the Pieces of Me cut file on some Neenah Solar White Classic Crest in the 80-pound weight. And I've got some inks here, some distress inks to add a little color to this project. I've also got some blender brushes. These are from Simon Says Stamp, and I wanted to show you this cute little holder. This is from Make It by Marco, a wonderful company that creates laser printed pieces that help you get organized from a crafty standpoint. It's a great tool. Again, everything I'm using today will be linked below the video. I'm also going to be using a little adhesive. I've got some liquid glue and some dot runner, both from Gina K Designs and Therm, along with some purple tape. And I'm also going to use this mask from Tailored Expressions. It's a stencil mask designed for card making, but it works great for scrapbooking. I wanted to show you the cut files. Now I've already cut these out of some gray basil cardstock, but this one will hold 5 photos. There's also a cut file in my free package for 7 photos if you wanted to include all 7, but I'm only using 5. And for those 5, I've also got a free layered Photoshop file that will allow you to use the 5 photo grid on this particular cut file. It's sized perfectly. You just drop in your photos, clip them in, print them on photo paper, and you're good to go. I wanted to share with you my digital sketch approach. Now I did this in Adobe Illustrator, but oftentimes when I'm creating a layout, I need to know where the photos are going, where my journaling's going, and because I already had the cut files, I built this digital sketch as my guide. So I knew exactly where the journaling was supposed to go and just printed this out on some Neenah Solar White Classic Crest 80-pound paper, lined up the stencil with the left edge of the journal block, and then I'm just going to take my purple tape and hold it in place. And the nice thing about the purple tape is it doesn't tear your paper. It does have an easy release most of the time. The only time I find it to stick is if I'm running it through a die cut machine, then it sometimes gets pressed into the paper. But as long as you're careful, you won't have any problems. Now I'm going to take my blender brushes, load them up, and start laying down some ink. The cool thing about this masking stencil is it contains the shape exactly as you see it, and it's going to give me this nice crisp image once I'm done. Now this is a really common technique in card making, using masks and laying down, shapes that you've ink blended. I just thought it would work great for a scrapbook page. I tend to keep my scrapbook pages pretty simple and I don't use a lot of embellishments. So I thought this little burst of rainbow color in my favorite distress inks would work really well. And I just kept blending until I got the colors looking exactly how I thought they should look. And I just went back over a few areas to blend them together where the transitions occurred. And it turned out exactly how I'd hoped, nice and crisp. I brought my frame cut file back in to sort of figure out where I was going to add the next bit of ink blending. So I'm just going to put a little pencil mark at the top and a pencil mark at the bottom. And then I'm going to tape this off with purple tape to create a mask and make sure that none of my ink spills into any of the area where I don't want it to go. And then I'm just going to repeat the exact same blend. Pink into orange, blend that together, layer in the yellow, and finish up with the green. And I just think this is great. Like, this looks like a great strip of pattern paper that I don't presently have in my collection, but ink blending is a great way to add color to your projects. And I will peel back the purple tape, and I tend to peel it just like that, sort of back on itself to make sure it doesn't tear. And now I'll let that dry. It turned out great. And now you can see the frame is going to be nicely placed, so now it's time to work on that frame. So I'm going to trim off the excess of my photo paper. And this is just a sheet of 8.5 by 11 that I keep in my stash. And I will bring in this cut, make sure it lines up, and the photo was a little wider than I wanted it to be, so I trimmed off just a tiny bit more because I want it to be completely contained behind the cut file. Hold down the guards and cut. I love this paper trimmer because it really does let you make precision fine cuts. It's a really great tool. All right, that works perfectly with the photos. See that? They're all nestled in there. It's designed to work together. Now I'll take some liquid glue and just kind of dab it on the frame. And I like using liquid glue for something like this because it gives you a little bit of wiggle room before it permanently adheres. I dotted it all over the back and just carefully lined it up on top of my photo strip and press that down and then repeat. This time I'll just, again, work my way around, dot on that liquid glue. I love this liquid glue because it really does, once you get the hang of it, like you can lay down really fine layers of the glue. And I'll also use the glue to adhere all of the cut files together. I cut out 3 of each, which I thought would give a nice bit of dimension for my title. I don't like a ton of dimension on layouts, but I do think it's great when you have something that's popped up a little bit like a title. And this is a great way to achieve that dimension. Just cut out as many as you like, glue them together and stack. And then I will repeat that off camera for the rest of the cut files for the title, and we'll move on. I'm going to cut a 1/4 inch off each side of this cardstock because I like my pages to be mounted on another color cardstock just to give it sort of a grounding effect. And if you take a 1/4 inch off each side, you'll have this beautiful 1/4 inch of framing margin space once you mount it on cardstock. Had to bring in a white background because I could not see to save my life for getting this perfectly aligned. So I'm adding my dot runner to the back of the white cardstock, framing it out, and you can see that nice margin of space. I love that. It just gives a nice finished look to any scrapbook page. I added some adhesive to the back of the frame and mounted that on, brought in my T-square just to make sure it was perfectly straight, and that looks great. I also should point out, I scrapbook in 8.5 by 11. That has just been my size of choice since I started back in 2000. My goodness, 2. But you can also adapt this for 12 by 12 and you will find a 12 by 12 sized photo frame in the cut file package. Just adding on that title with liquid glue, putting an acrylic block on it to let it really set up. And then to finish off, I pulled out these waffle flower enamels. They're really great. The clear ones have sort of a glitter look. And I thought it would look kind of cute to take the dot of the eye, also called a tittle. Thank you. I learned that from my friend Laura Basson, who is an amazing card maker. The tittle. Thought that was cute, and then I just sprinkled a few more of the enamel dots around the page. I thought 3 groupings would be a nice way to finish it off. I like to use my craft pick too to place them because my fingers get in the way, but this thing lets me see clearly where I am placing anything tiny. And that's the finished page. Pieces of me. I really enjoyed this project. I really enjoyed seeing the inspiration that was shared, and I'll also include the hashtag that was shared on social media, especially Instagram, if you want to be inspired to see how women documented pieces of themselves in a very life-affirming way. Again, all the links you will need to download Allie's cut files and my cut files you can find directly below this video. So by all means, take advantage and create something creative today. Thanks so much for watching today. I would love to have you become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. And if you do subscribe, be sure to hit the gray bell below the video so that you don't miss the next time I post. Here are a couple other videos that you might be interested in watching. Thanks so much and have a great day.